CTCs. So it was all of the Davis County CTCs, Layton, South Davis, Central 5, as well as North Davis, just because there are people in new positions. So I went just, to get a refresher. But
Yeah, I was on that list, and then I had to deal with another issue that we were dealing with, so I
That's
could make
fine.
it.
But yeah, no, it was a good time, just coordinating with the CTCs and making sure we understand the roles that we have in leadership. And there were some other CTCs there who were, I don't want to say envious because that's not the right word, but they were very interested in how our CTC works with the city very well, and I guess that does not happen across the county, probably in the state either, but we're looked at as a model of a way that cities and the coalition can work together. So I was able to share some of the insights there. Our training was put on by a woman who works for the state and does this across the state, and she touted that the Davis County coalitions have some really great things happening, and so she's always able to share the collaboration that we have and the programs that we offer to the state to let Davis County kind of be a forerunner in a lot of the things that we're doing. So that was some good kudos that I thought I would share with our group. And then there are a number of things happening at the Capitol as far as cities go. I do have one update that I'll share. There was a House bill that was looking at small lots and starter home amendments. Representative Ward was putting out. It was House Bill 184. It was a big deal. We were not on board with it, and that failed to pass out of committee by 6-3 votes. So good work on behalf of all of the cities and municipalities. There's a number of other things. I won't take all the time because both the Clints are also participants in that, and I'll give them some time to share as well. But that's all I have.
Okay.
UIA, some updates on both financials. They had their kind of 2025 fiscal year highlights. So average, just as a 30,000 foot view here, average monthly recurring revenue increased by 17%. We had subscribers that increased by 10% year on year, and operating revenue increased by 17%.
This is overall, not this Layton,
Yeah, this
right?
is all, the
Yeah.
whole system, yeah. So anything the system does that grows, that helps the city, obviously. For citywide, our take rate continues to go up every single month, which is good. When we've already had a complete build out, that just means that more people are adding it, and fewer people are canceling it. So it's just adding to the current existing subscriber base. So, which is good, because it's one thing if your rate increases, your subscriber increases because you get a whole new block of the city that's available, but we're already built out. So anything that we get in addition is just people satisfied with what Utopia is coming up with. So pretty healthy, nothing else ready to report other than just things are looking good in terms of financially, in a good spot.
Good. Anybody else before we?
Planning Commission, there was one item that was discussed. It was the park that the
dog park?
no, not a dog park.
Sorry, I
Unfortunately,
had to
not
say
a dog
that.
park. It was,
North Davis Preparatory.
thank you.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to help me.
It's okay,
with
that's in
stuff
my
like
neighborhood,
that.
I've heard all about it.
There's a lot of the public attended, residents nearby. Most, I think, at the end of the meeting, the engineer for the developer for the school actually answered some of their concerns and was gonna evaluate it. It was more their responsibility than the city. There was, Brad was there. There was a question that Brad was gonna get with engineering to clarify that he wasn't able to that night. But then one thing that came out of that meeting, there was a lot of, I'm gonna say residents' frustration with parking during the school. One question I asked, and I apologize, I forget the assistant.
Jade.
Yeah, her and Brad was, they were gonna talk to engineering, but were they gonna brief other departments, or do they brief other departments?
Yeah.
And it was kind of iffy in this case. I guess there's not a formal way to brief other departments, but there seemed to be a lot of potential traffic issues that should be made aware to the chief, is how I looked at it, but.
So we do hold a weekly meeting with the legal, planning, and engineering. Sometimes parks will also attend, and sometimes police, just depending on, or fire, depending on the issues. But for sure, those three departments, we meet every week. And then when we have things that involve the other departments, we
You
invite them in,
them.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good.
That's it.
Yeah, I love it. Is there anything more from the league that we probably need to?
There's a lot of wrangling going on. The bill that Tina just mentioned was, it went through that same committee twice, so they said, hey, we want some changes. They made some changes, came back and were like, we still not gonna do it. But what they wanted to put the cities on notice. In fact, 3 of them, I think, said, we're putting the cities on notice, but you gotta do something about housing. And so President Bradshaw gave a list of, in fact, she went over time giving a list of all the things that the cities have done, have agreed to, have compromised, to just all down this list. And I don't know, it's interesting what,
Well, and we already have an ordinance on ADUs and flag lots that we're willing to work with.
yeah, and this one, so the other part of this bill that obviously didn't go anywhere, but was to allow people to come in and say, hey, I just want to put a small house on a little lot, and in whatever zone, it didn't matter, the zone didn't matter. And then the city would have 30 days to say okay or not okay, and if the city didn't do anything in the 30 days, then it would be automatically approved. And it's just a way, once again, the zoning authority of the municipality to just get in the way of that, just little by little. And so they recognized that, and the committee did, but they're still, I don't know, maybe that was for Representative Ward's benefit, because he's worked really, really hard on trying to do this over the years. Hasn't got very far with it because of what he's trying to accomplish. But, yeah, more of that kind of stuff. And then there's the water bill. Have you been following
I know we have limited time tonight, but I think we need to take 2 seconds or a minute and update us on this.
You're
So
talking about
everybody's aware
HB
of it.
501.
Yeah. Where's it at now?
Um,
So everybody
It
knows.
is,
So
it's so confusing.
the latest update, yeah, you're right, it's a very concerning bill. But the latest update that Bettina and I were in the meeting on Monday, the update that we got was that there's no longer a mandatory participation by the cities, which is good.
Yeah.
And also that any money that is collected, one of our big concerns was that that Layton City taxpayers would put all this money in, or fee payers, I should say, should put money in, and then it goes to projects throughout the state that don't have anything to do with our citizens. So that has been changed to say that any of those fees stay with the local jurisdiction. So with that took away a lot of the concern, but it's still being very closely monitored.
The question that I still have is the infrastructure fund that they're talking about being able to apply for funds from, where's that money coming from? Because the way that the bill says is that you can't access any of those funds unless
you
you
meet the
are
criteria.
charging the
Yep.
1.5 for water and the 1.5 for sewer. But my question then is, well, where's that, before it was a fee, it would go into the big pot and you'd be able to access that, so where's that money now coming from? That's the question that I don't have an answer to.
Well, and interesting on the issue of the fee too, that the bill does exempt the state from the rational basis test of fees need to be reasonably related to what the service is being provided, and of course that's the rule that we follow as a municipality, as does every other municipality. So the state did exempt themselves from that. But with regard to the money, it's interesting because if you don't collect the money, then you can't ask for any funding.
Mhm.
But then based on Steve's analysis, and he could give you more detail, Steve did an analysis of this, and if we did do what the or what the bill is proposing, we wouldn't need to ask for any money
Right.
because it would pay for it, so.
Yep, yep. It's,
Yeah.
Oh, can I say one more thing? I know we have not a lot of time. But there are also a lot of property tax bills. I think we talked about that when we had our meeting with the Senate leadership.
Yeah.
But one thing that I did mention in the meeting the other day, I was a little heated, but there were some bills that are being discussed, one in particular, and the sponsor was trying to figure out a way to respond to what they called pressure from the public regarding property taxes and how that was related to cities. And just to be on record, we already know that cities only account for about 13% of that property tax. And so whatever this narrative is that they are trying to respond to from the public, I basically just said, instead of creating a bill to require us to do more of X, Y, or Z, why don't you just tell the truth about what is in the property tax, what it goes toward, and if you're trying to raise it, what you're trying to raise it for. And so I think that is the pressure that we, as elected officials and also residents, can give to the legislature, is that tell the truth about what is in the taxes and what is in these fees that are also taxes, instead of trying to create more bills to tax, again, the cities, which further tax residents even more. So that was something that I just think, as a league, it's something that I'm trying to ask for them to give us more information so that as a local electeds, we can tell the residents what's really going on, and they can pressure their own legislators in that same way.
Good. Thank you for doing that. We need that.
we have a full ramp commission, Mayor.
Oh, sure.
They're all set up and.
Reviewing
Yep,
everything
yep,
and
yep.
full steam ahead, right?
Yep,
Good. That's good. Another good one.
That's it.
With the full staff.
yep.
That even works better, or full commission, excuse me. Okay, let's go ahead and move on then. On our agenda here, we have item number 3, which we've got Preston Lee with us from Wasatch Integrated, that is going to give us an update and just overall acknowledgement that you're now the new director.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say thank you to the mayor and thank you to the council person, city council. I want to say thanks to Alex. We met back in July. So I'm trying to do things a little bit different. I want to reach out to all of the city managers and be a little bit more transparent as to what's happening up there at Wasatch Integrated. I do have a presentation, but it's only 8, and it goes over the same things that you guys already know that we do. I know that Councilmember Colindrianos is pretty familiar with who we are and what we do. Maybe not for the latest stuff. So I do have some updates on like the Swiffer grant that we were awarded. We were awarded a EPA's grant. It's called Solid Waste Infrastructure.
For recycling.
Yeah, for recycling grant. And so it really is about organics recycling. And so there's 5 components that we're going to be working on: expansion of our compost pad, expansion of curbside organics into cities, and then and then we're going to put some AI cameras on some collection trucks. So, yeah. So really, what I wanted to do is just start fresh. I want to open up the communication. I want to hear what you guys, would like me to know, and so that we can start a new process going forward. There's going to be a lot of interaction between Wasatch and Layton. We've got, eventually that landfill closes, and we have a lot of infrastructure that we need to put in place, roads mostly, and that has to be a collaboration between us. We've already presented a plan, but we're talking, 15 or 20 years down the road when this process is going to be taking place. And so, you know, I need Layton. You know, we need to continue this great collaboration that we've had over the years, and that's what I'm here today. That's what we're here today, is to just be, you know, the partners that we've always been.
Introduce the other two.
Yeah, so Jesse Simonson is our landfill manager. I should call him committee member.
Yeah, and a My Hometown Committee member. Thank you.
Yeah, hometown committee member. Colette West is our sustainability specialist.
Okay.
So I am here to listen. If you guys have things for me to say, if are here, and if not, I can just address any of the concerns that you have.
The one thing I want to add, especially on the compost facility, if you go back to 1995 when I was employed by then, I don't remember what we called ourselves back then.
Wasatch Energy System.
To where it is even today and now, what is the dollar amount on this grant?
So it's $3.4 million. The biggest chunk of that is expansion of that aerated static pile. So we have a compost facility that has a concrete pad, and we inject air up into that compost. It does a couple of things. One, it speeds up the process. So usually it's about 90 days to get it all worked if you don't have air shoved in there. So you add air by turning it with a big turner. The process that we use, it processes that compost in 40 days. It's off the pad and into curing piles. And depending on what that demand is for that compost, that's how long that curing it sits in that curing pile. We're really trying to bring the temperature down. I mean, we're talking temperatures as high as 170 degrees, so they're really hot. And that's all the microbes producing all that heat.
So one thing I want to just kind of add to
Yep.
Preston's comment, where they were 40, has it been 40 years?
Yep.
40 years to where it's night and day. It was a farmer operation when we
Mhm.
first started it, basically to call it something really simple. And where they've taken it to where it is today and now with this additional funds. And the whole theory about it is to get that waste out of the
Yeah.
landfill, so it's not taking up that valuable space in that land.
Yeah, and producing some of the emission problems. We moved that facility over the years. We had it permitted at one location, and then residents encroached on that area, so we moved it because we was getting a little bit of complaints, and that's when we also upgraded it to the ASP system, primarily to fight odors. I mean, the compatibility of a landfill inside a residential community is not very good. So we need to be even more aggressive to make sure that we're not impacting the citizens. There's 3 ways that we impact them. Odor, of course, and then litter that gets blown around. And then the third one is noise. So every time those front end loaders back up, there's that beep, beep, beep. You can imagine if you're sitting there on Saturday morning trying to sleep and they got those backup or those loaders running. So we actually use a white noise backup alarm. It goes, doesn't carry, it doesn't impact your citizens or residents. So we're very proud. We do a lot of effort. We put a lot of money into making sure that we are good neighbors. Most of the neighbors that reside around our landfill have contact, have my cell phone number, and can talk to me, so that I can address their concerns.
You got one living right there on your staff.
Yeah.
Close by too.
Yeah.
Which is
Preston,
cool.
one question I had for you on the methane odor.
Yeah.
Are you still shipping methane over to Hill Air Force Base for electrical generation? Or is
So that contract was a 20-year contract, and it came due in January. And so we are in the process of moving on to another project. It's an RNG, another acronym, renewable natural gas, where they take our landfill gas, and landfill gas is about 50% methane and 50% other gases, primarily CO2. They strip all those other gases, and then we inject into, Enbridge pipeline, and that is located very closely to our facility. So we're looking to that, That should come online 2027.
So you're permanent it now?
Yeah,
Permanent it.
yeah, we just flare it.
Flare.
Yeah, we did have a project where we allowed Bitcoin miners to come in and use our methane to mine Bitcoins. And that was quite interesting, but they laughed.
On that topic then, do you guys have any other questions? Because it's gonna say, you might want to stay around and listen to the next presentation.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Excellent. But, you know, Alex had asked me about, to maybe talk a little bit about, you know, rolling out a recycling, green waste curbside recycling program. First off, I am not here to push any program. We are happy with where Layton is. We're not trying to expand. I just want to make sure that if I offer something to one member city, that I should be offering that to every member city. And so one of the things that is really has caught on is this curbside organics or green waste. It would be a really heavy lift to bring Layton City on right now because of the amount of residents that you have and the amount of material that we would receive. So the program is pretty simple. It is really accepted well, if I can, with residents because it is an opt-out, a true opt-out system. If you don't want the program at any time, you should be able to get out, and so it really makes it well received. I do know, just talking to a couple of residents, there is the need to have green waste curbside, but so right now with the grant, I'm not able to probably do an expansion capable of handling Layton's because EPA does not want me to add any funding to their projects that they currently have under this Swiffer grant. So it really ties my hands. I have to get through this process and then we can look at maybe expanding and accommodating. So I'm thinking maybe 2028 would be the earliest that we could maybe roll that program out. But I'm open to conversations and to hear if you guys are interested or where that's at.
So question for you, so if we have individual residents that want to
Yeah.
sign up, they can or cannot?
Well,
Or
so.
does it need to be everybody?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not, like the current recycling program
That's what
is a
I'm driving
volunteer program, and that's good, it works. But this kind of program, you'd have to work with waste management to offer that type of, and I don't know if they're gonna really wanna come in and drive around and pick up 30% of the houses.
So we hear a lot, we've heard lots of different numbers on the landfill's life expectancy.
Yes, that is a
So what
great
is it?
question. Okay, so right now, we are shooting for 15 years. However, we made a substantial change to our rates in 2025. In July 1st of 2025, we put a surcharge on out-of-district waste, and that pretty much eliminated that waste from coming to our facility. So we put 100% surcharge. So if it was $25 for an out-of-district residential single vehicle to come in, then we now charge $50. And if it's a commercial truck, we now charge $96 a ton. So it really did what we wanted, and it stopped it. So, but that means that I lost 44,000 tons, I expect to, out of this upcoming fiscal year. We brought in about 40,000 tons in 2024, and in 2025, in the half of that year, we brought in 17,000. Now, the first half of that year, you got January and February, so those were really low months. So the second half is expected to be higher. So my point is, we're gonna do a model, recreate a financial model that's going to pinpoint exactly where that falls now, and we're gonna be presenting that to the board at a retreat. So I'm expecting that we've already gained 5 years. So it'll be 20 years now. And you want facilities in place. So when I'm saying facilities, it's transfer facility. Have I gone over?
No,
Oh.
well, you're close here.
Sorry.
But I was gonna say, but that's predicated on the fact that you continue to do this deterrent
Yeah.
on pricing. So if somebody else, you know, is
Oh.
price neutral with us, then they're gonna come back. So at that point, you're gonna
Yeah.
have to raise it again to continue
Right.
to deter it.
Yeah,
In order
yeah,
for that model to
absolutely.
work,
I
right?
would be hard pressed if somebody went to $96 a ton though.
I know,
That's
but
pretty
much-
steep.
or even the
But
50.
anyway, I digress. So you want facilities in place, and our facility that we're gonna be putting in place is a transfer station. So there have been a couple of new transfer stations built in Utah, gorgeous, gorgeous facilities. $60 million is what they spent down in the south end of Utah Valley to handle all of their waste for the next 20 years. Another facility was built in Sandy. It's built on a 5-acre parcel, and that one was $34 million. And it's a tiny facility that handles about 300,000 tons. Our landfill last year took in 200,000 tons. So we've already got one transfer station that transfers most of your residential recycling out of the district. The new transfer station would just handle that commercial load. And it's kind of funny, we're starting to see commercial waste leaving the district on its own. There's a new transfer station owned by Ace on the south end, and a new transfer station owned on the north end by Robinson Waste. And so we're already starting to see a little bit of pressure on that. Sorry.
It isn't recycling waste, isn't
Nope.
it just regular household
Well,
waste? Is it household waste?
It's
that
recycling.
you're transferring?
It's recycling it from Weaver County Recycling. So Ogden now
No,
takes
no,
their
that we're
recycling.
transferring,
Oh, yeah, we're not transferring recycling. We just process recycling at our MRF.
but we're transferring pretty much your household waste.
Yes, the household waste, not the
Yeah.
commercial waste. yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. You
Alex,
guys-
is there anything else you want me to address?
No, thank you.
I really appreciate
Thank you for coming.
conversations and helping me get here today, so thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You guys are good?
When did it change? Because when I was there, we actually had we weren't accepting out of
Out of
district.
district waste.
When did that change?
Yeah, it changed about 2007 is when we lost flow control. And so that really changed how that really flowed. But we saw a high increase in, 2022 or 2023? You started to see this spike in out-of-district waste, and it's really come in. A lot of dump trailers come into our facility because it's so hard to get into Weaver Transfer's facility, so. Anyway, thank you so much for this opportunity, and
Okay, one more.
again, anytime that you guys want to hear it.
One
oh,
more, and then
sorry.
we're gonna
One
move
question,
on.
and you may have to come back and talk about this, but there are always questions about recycling and where it actually goes.
Yes,
So if you have like a
Yes.
2 minute
2 minutes.
on
Uh,
what that looks like.
Yep.
We have lots of residents who think that it just gets put in the same
Yeah,
pile.
so here's the issue. If I was a resident and I followed my recycling garbage can, or recycling truck, it would go to the same place that my garbage is going to. And so they see that and they're like, hey, why is this? So we're really trying to educate your residents and our residents that even though they get dropped at the same facility, the floor is split. One side is recycling and it gets processed through our MRF, and we bale these commodities, and then we sell them to the highest bidder. Every month, we're asking for new quotes. So these guys are paying top dollar for these recyclables. We're talking $1,800 for aluminum. I mean, outrageous. $800, and this is per ton. And so anyway, nobody's gonna pay that type of money and then go and throw it away. It's just hard. So one of the issues that we have is that we deal with brokers. And we ask these brokers, where does that material go? And they are reluctant to tell us because they don't want us to go around them and just sell it directly to that recycling facility. So we can't, they do say that majority of it stays domestic. The one exception is cardboard. Cardboard is very lucrative to sell across to Asian markets, and so you do see that. We are getting a few cardboard recycling coming back online up into the northwest, up into Washington. But right now, it is rock bottom. We are not getting very
Pretty
much.
much sold Pacific Northwest the past year,
Yeah.
paper and cardboard.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, that's where a lot of paper mills are.
But
About 50% of them.
I get it. I hear the same things, and we're trying to, assure people that if you put it in that recycling bin, especially in our district, 95% of it is not gonna go into a landfill. With some of our offtake partners that we have, we're making darn sure that we are far above industry standards and making sure that that does not get into a landfill. I don't know if that helps, but.
Oh, that's a good
It
explanation.
does help. I mean, we may need more later.
Yeah,
We have time
absolutely.
for
Yeah.
the whole
Thank you
thing.
so much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, you guys. Okay, let's jump into a very interesting and dynamic topic that I think all of us need to be educated on. So Chief Swanson, tell us about cryptocurrency.
Thank you, Mayor,
Scams.
City Council. Appreciate you guys giving us some of your time tonight. Let me just quickly introduce some of my team that I brought over. Got Lieutenant Riley Richens, he's over investigations. Sergeant Clark, he's one of the supervisors in investigations. And then Detective Hanson and Detective Bowman, who will be presenting with you tonight. They're our experts on cryptocurrency, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. So over the last 4 years or so, it's become quite a big problem for our community. And we have lots of victims, which they'll go into. But the reason for this presentation is twofold. So we want to educate you on the types of crypto crimes that we are dealing with, if you don't already know. But also at the end of this presentation, we're going to be asking for basically your thumbs up. This is not an approval of the end result, but your thumbs up to move forward with working with our legal team here on a new ordinance that we'll talk a little bit about tonight and then bring back to you hopefully with an actual ordinance in a future meeting. So also want to publicly recognize Detective Hanson and they have worked tirelessly on this and put together a really good presentation for you and come up with some pretty good ideas. So with that, I'll turn time over to both of them.
Thanks, Chief. Council Mayor, Alex Clint, thank you for having us. We're going to pull up this presentation, what is going on, but just like Chief just introduced. I'm Cody Bowman, detective with our fraud, and this is my partner Nick Hansen. And we will get into it.
Yeah, so we do basically financial crimes, fraud, forgery. Those are the cases that we work. We saw a huge uptick in cryptocurrency cases, and it got our attention because they're difficult cases to work, and we're trying to find a solution, right, to help the citizens of Layton. So we'll get into it. Kind of what we're going to talk about kind of real quickly today is kind of just a quick basic of understanding cryptocurrency, cryptocurrency BTMs, some fraud statistics, banning the BTMs, a little bit into the cryptocurrency seizure, which is kind of police, legal orient, and then the Senate Bill 173. So
We're going to start with a video. If the volume's too low, I don't know. How to
it's just a quick little video just to show you guys an example of kind of what we're dealing with.
This is the moment police in Florida found an 80-year-old man depositing tens of thousands of his life savings into what's called a Bitcoin ATM machine.
Do you have any idea how much money you have?
Today, 30, 40,000.
Why?
A cryptocurrency scam caught in real time. The man telling officers he thought he was on the phone with his bank and was told to protect his money by putting it into this machine.
And all that money is put into this machine?
This machine. The unidentified scammers relentless until police grabbed the phone.
Who are you? I'm the police. All right, just don't put any more money in this machine. No bank will ever have you do this, sir. They stole your money. Whoever these people are, they stole your money.
An investigation by ABC News in October found dozens of Americans with similar stories, convinced by scammers to send money through a Bitcoin ATM, including 86-year-old Fran Bates, seen here.
Hey, ma'am. Yeah. Can I talk to you for a second?
Please, I have the bank on the phone.
Okay, let me talk to who you're talking to on the bank.
And I'm in danger.
Okay, no, you're not, ma'am. Okay, stop putting money in there.
Bates loading thousands of dollars into the machine until police confront the alleged scammer.
No, you're not.
She was one click away from losing it all.
No, don't click, I'm done. Do not click anything.
They look pretty much like a regular ATM. The difference is you don't really get money out of them, you put money in and buy cryptocurrency.
Data from the FBI shows Americans collectively lost nearly $250 million to these types of scams in 2024, more than double from the previous year. Adam Zarazinski, a crypto forensics expert, has encountered hundreds of these scams.
Do you think these companies know that in large part their ATMs are being used for scams?
Yes, they either know or they're turning a blind eye to it.
Bitcoin ATM vendors say their kiosks include fraud warnings and that they should not be held responsible for the actions of scammers who misuse their machines. But for this victim in Florida, while police intervened quickly,
How do we cancel this?
it wasn't fast enough. He had already reportedly deposited more than $50,000.
Now, experts tell us these scammers thrive on frightening people, making them act quickly before thinking. The best advice here, slow down. Ask yourself, is this person trying to get me to move money somewhere that I normally wouldn't? And if you're concerned, hang up and call your bank's official number to verify the call, guys.
Yep. So pretty impactful video, and that's what we're here to talk about, try to protect our citizens from becoming victims further. So let's get into understanding what cryptocurrency is and what BTMs are.
So these are just some common terms. I'm not sure if any of you guys are involved in any crypto stuff, so this may be, not news to you, but cryptocurrency basically is digital money. It's basically just computer code that is basically people put a value to it. A BTM is just like an automated teller machine, but it's a Bitcoin. It can do all types of cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin. They put Bitcoin because that was the main first cryptocurrency that kind of came out, so it kind of stuck. An exchange is basically kind of like a bank. It's a digital platform that lets people trade and sell cryptocurrency that's not controlled by an actual bank. A crypto wallet is basically just it's a secure wallet that's just on your smartphone that just shows basically how much cryptocurrency that you have in there. Blockchain is basically kind of a database. It's kind of like an account statement, but it's different because it's all public. Everything that is cryptocurrency related is all public ledgers. We could go online right now and look at all of what people are trading right now. So, and then we'll go over the free stuff a little bit later on.
So what's cryptocurrency? This is the definition of it. I'll read it out loud so everyone can hear it. Cryptocurrency is a digital money that uses strong coding to be secure. Cryptocurrency operates on a shared online record system called the blockchain. Instead of a centralized bank, it's decentralized, meaning no single government or institution controls it, which allows people to send payments directly to each other, like a peer-to-peer. The transactions are verified by a network of computers and not banks.
Basically what that means is basically the mining machines that you were kind of discussing, people want to use that, and that's what verifies all these transactions. That's why people like having these mining machines, because it just verifies the transaction. So banks usually do that. With cryptocurrency, it's just basically anyone that owns a mining machine is verifying that transaction.
And what's a BTM? We kind of discussed it. Just think of it as an ATM, but instead of an ATM where you can go withdraw cash from, BTMs, the Bitcoin teller machine, you cannot. You can only put money in, and then you can't get that cash back. There's also services called crypto counter services where you can actually go to a gas station. We'll talk about that in a second. But like at a 7-Eleven, you can go talk to the person behind the counter and do your crypto transactions that way.
So these are all the different Bitcoin ATMs that we have in Layton right now. We have 18. The top two that we have the most problems with are the Bitcoin Depot and the Coin Flip, and that aligns with some other states as well. But you can see the locations. They're typically in, they're in the God AM Smoke Shop, Chevron's gas stations, the mall, the laundromat, Walgreens. I don't know if you guys are investors in stocks or anything like that, but I'm not going to be going to the smoke shop to be investing any of my money in any of this.
Or the mall.
Yeah. So
we're in the middle of the food court. So.
And one of the biggest things that video kind of hit is these businesses, they're turning a blind eye to it, or they're fully aware of what's going on. These businesses charge 16%, upwards of 30% just for a single transaction. So when we have victims that put in $10,000 into that machine, they're getting anywhere from that $1,600 to $3,000 off of that transaction. Once again, if you're going to legitimately invest in anything, you're not going to want to jeopardize upwards of 30% of what you're going to be investing into.
So why do these businesses even have these BTMs in their stores? The business themselves get $200 roughly. We talked to a couple businesses, the mall. We talked to Hi and Mike's Pawn Shop. They have disclosed they make about $200 a month from the companies that own the machines, just to house it. they don't get a cut of the transactions. They just have to house it in their gas stations, the mall, etc. It increases foot traffic because today's generation, they like these Bitcoin, this Bitcoin cryptocurrency thing is very, very big right now. So it increases their foot traffic in their businesses, and then it modernizes it. Again, brings in a lot of different people to businesses like high-end mics that maybe don't usually go to pawn shops. The mall is a big place for foot traffic. It attracts those people to come in and do those. While we were speaking with the high mics owner and the owners of the mall, they said that they are under contract with these companies, and for example, high mics can't get out of the contract. They don't know how to get out of it because it's a contract. But if there was a law or a city ordinance put in place, that would assist them with getting rid of the machines. And that's what, and they're looking for that help as well.
And both those businesses have discussed when they see people come in being victimized, they try to say, hey, stop putting a money machine in. They'll basically tell them to leave me alone, get away. And so like, hey, well, I've tried to help you, and these people get victimized so deeply by the suspects. So they've tried to help out when they can. So it's not the businesses, it's just they just kind of got sold into hosting these BTMs.
So why are we doing this? Why did this even come up? We have empathy for our victims. We are Layton City Police Department investigators. We handle these types of crimes. We've seen the amount of effect, the amount of dollar loss from all these victims. So we have these empathy of these people that are taking loans out, that are taking their retirement out to send money to strangers they don't even know. So what do? This flyer on the right was created, and we went down to we went to every single BTM in the city, and we posted it near the machine or on the machine. We noticed, we felt like there was maybe a little bit of a drop in cases, and we'll go over statistics momentarily. We felt like there was a drop, but we also determined that wasn't enough.
Yeah, so this is,
we did get consent, by the way.
Oh, yes.
To post these.
Yeah, so the business owners were okay with it. We put some, they're just right near the machines, as you can see on this one right here. So this is a victim that fell to a kind of a jury warrant scam. Basically, you got contacted saying that, you know, hey, you're going to be on arrest. You missed jury duty. You need to give me $10,000, $15,000 into this Bitcoin machine. And so he did. And it's just, this is an interesting one because this is straight from the Bitcoin machine. Whenever you deposit money, it takes a photograph of your face, any transaction. You can see our flyer is in the corner of this machine here.
How did you get that picture?
So this is from a case I worked that I subpoenaed the Bitcoin
Okay.
company. So I requested that legally, got that information to try to identify who my suspect was in this case, and then I get back this information. So it killed me when I saw this, and I try to talk with him because we feel for these people.
The point is, even with this sign, without warning, people are either not reading it or ignoring it and still doing it. So.
Yeah, this gentleman's out $15,000, so he'll never be able to get back. So. Another reason that we're doing this is we did a little bit of research around the nation, Detective Bowman did, and we learned it's possible to remove BTMs, but we wanted to be able to support that with some data from some of the cases that we worked over the years. So with that, we'll get into kind of our statistics. It might be a little bit dry, but all these numbers are quite interesting when they're compiled into bigger data. So
we took a wide range dating from January 2021 to December of 2025. That's what all these numbers, with the exception of one slide which we'll show. But this is an audit that we did. This involves scams, which is in the bottom there, the different scam types such as email compromise, investment, jury duty or warrant, romance scams, extortion scams, tech help, other, and then some unknowns. We'll get into that.
Yeah. So basically, we're looking from January 21 to December 2025. Is when we pulled our cases. Real quick, email compromise. This happens a lot, to where basically there's just a slight little change in the email address, behaving like a company. Like that example right there, that says John Doe, and that doesn't say Microsoft, it says RN, Microsoft. We see a lot of cases like this, to where they're just changing little words. Investment scams, basically criminals will lure you with a promise, invest low, you'll receive high, and they'll be able to imitate that on whatever platform they're using to get them to invest higher amounts of money.
The jury duty, you get contacted by someone claiming to be a police officer working for maybe your local police department or the sheriff's office saying, you missed jury duty, you have a warrant for your arrest, you need to go take money out of the bank, go to this machine located at whatever location, you need to deposit and send it. And it's via Bitcoin. They can't get that money back.
And people that don't have any criminal history or anything like that freaks them out, that terrifies them.
So then you have your romance scam, they get contacted, they develop some sort of an online relationship, which is very, very common in today's world. They gain the trust of that person and they convince them to send money.
These extortion cases are pretty common, especially in kind of young adults, basically where they'll convince someone to send, intimate images of themselves to them and then say, send me money or I'm going to disperse this to family and friends. And it happens all the time to where they panic and they'll send money, usually through cryptocurrency. Tech help, a lot of this is is Geek Squad kind of stuff, I think like that. Thing pops up on the computer, hey, you have a virus, click here, you click here, and then it kind of goes and does its thing. The other
category compiles a lot of different types, but consumer fraud schemes, local classifieds on your KSL, Facebook Marketplace, just healthcare fraud, some money mules, and the common sweepstakes or lottery scam. Hey, you won how much money? But in order to get they get to pay the taxes, so send the money via the Bitcoin machine, but nothing ever happens. And the unknown category was victims that called us for help, but didn't want to disclose anything of what scam they were a part of or how much money they sent. But it was still a case taken, so we have that stat.
And a lot of these cases come across because they're embarrassed of what happened. So like I said, we really feel for these people. So this is all Layton. So we'll get into non-BTM cryptocurrency cases. Basically means that a BTM, the Bitcoin transaction machine, was not involved in these cases, but cryptocurrency was. We had 88 total cases. Average age was 48, and total loss was $7.3 million.
Romance scam was number one with a $4.3 million loss, followed by sextortion cases.
So this is dedicated for the Bitcoin machine cases. We had 74 cases, average age are 56 and older. We do have a lot of elderly that fall victim to this. Total loss $1.8 million. So interesting on this is some of these cases, especially the ones that don't involve the BTMs. Like we've had cases upwards of people losing $280,000 in a single scam. So like it's a big deal.
So the summary of our fraud cases: cryptocurrencies on the left, that involves BTMs and anything cryptocurrency related. On the right is all the other fraud cases involved with those scams. So on the left, total cases, 161 cases with a $9.1 million loss. Non-crypto related, we had 355 cases with $3.3 million loss. Significant of lower amount of cases with a very, very high amount of dollar loss and vice versa. On the bottom there, you'll see the average loss per case that we had is $56.5 thousand, and that's the average. And on the right, 9.3. So,
does that kind of make sense, the differences in those cases? So cryptocurrencies, it's a big deal. So just for comparison, we had Davis County audit their cases, basically all Davis County besides Layton. All total cases that they had, cryptocurrency had 88 cases. So we had, like I said, we had basically twice as many cases as the total of Davis County combined.
We are the biggest city. We have a lot of traffic through our city, hence probably why the significant amount of cases. So,
and we also have the most kiosks.
We do.
Which we're going to talk to you about. So,
yeah, I'd be curious what the total is.
18.
Yeah, so we've got 18. This is just in the news just the other day. This is a pretty impactful article that was on KSL. This woman lost $850,000 to a cryptocurrency fraud. She's living the American dream, retired, worked, did everything she needed to do, and fell victim to a scam.
The quotes we found very powerful are on the right, and I'll read them out loud. It's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't been through it, but what I call it is brain jacking. She told KSL the grooming behavior she experienced. She said it just floods you with feel-good feelings, and you don't want it to stop because they're paying attention to you. And hey, nobody's paid attention to me in 20 years. Towards the end of the article, she said, there's no cavalry coming to save me. Unless I win the lottery, I'm probably going to live the rest of my life in poverty. Detective Hansen and I have spoken with people just like this who have said those exact words. And it's hard to hear that coming from someone who's worked till retirement, and they're just supposed to enjoy life, but they can't now. They've taken second loans out, second mortgages, and they maxed out credit cards just to do this.
So like I said, these suspects are good at what they do, and they know that the cryptocurrency and the BTMs is an easy target to get money to them. That's very difficult to trace. So here's just a few other articles I just wanted to hit. In the middle there, it says that basically Bitcoin BTMs have been increasingly entangled in organized crime, fraud, and exploitation, most specifically elderly. They get hit a lot, but like I said, organized crime is something that is very hard to combat. So that's kind of another reason why we want to get these BTMs out of the city.
And just go back one.
Yeah, go ahead.
The bottom one that says people who view crypto as an investment asset are far less likely to interact with a BTM. We all have cell phones. There's lots of applications that you can do cryptocurrency on that, and your legit investors who are into that will use cell phones and apps. not BTMs.
So we did a bunch of research on this. The Iowa Attorney General's office, they did a big investigation in their state in regards to this. And what they found, auditing basically all the Bitcoin machines in their state, that it was 98% of their transactions from the BTMs were illegitimate, basically frauds, to where, like I said, only 2% was legitimate. So that they were able to find. That is just an astronomical number. So they know what's going on. These businesses do, and they're making a killing off of it. So.
So as of right now, we don't have any way to, no city in the state of Utah has any documented of having BTMs banned from their cities, which if we, through this process, are able to do that, we'd be the first.
And we've had a lot of interest in when we've discussed with other detectives that work cryptocurrency cases as well, kind of what's going on. So, but like I said, it is possible. Plenty of people have done it. Ipswich, Spokane, all these other places have done it as well. So, and we've
Gloucester, yeah. And Peabody.
She
right?
called me out. I'm not going to say that right now.
And it's Peabody, Massachusetts, right?
We're going over articulation.
So I know this is kind of small, but this is an example of a municipal code for Spokane, Washington. Goes Ads. It is Spokane, right? Goes Ads.
We did a bunch of research.
We did some research on that. So again, this is just a municipal code. On the left here, highlighted the yellow. I'm going to read it out loud because I know it's really small. Just part of this, the scope and purpose. Virtual currency kiosks, BTN, are frequently used by criminals to manipulate, intimidate, and threaten victims into using those kiosks to send cash. Without stronger federal, state, or local regulations, there is no way to stop criminals from using virtual currency kiosks to victimize the members of the community. I don't want that to continue happening here in Layton. And this is what has driven Detective Hansen and I to want to get rid of these machines.
And a lot of the drive for us was that these cases, we work them to the end that we possibly can. They end up in China, Africa, British Virgin Islands. Like, we're not going to get warrants issued or be able to, or go arrest those people. Like, that's impossible, especially to the level that we're at. So we were really trying to think of what else we can do to help our victims. So real quick, we'll go over just the cryptocurrency seizure, just because we don't want to solely rely on just the BTMs being removed. We want to take another approach to it as well. Kind of a two-pronged approach. One of them was the cryptocurrency seizure. The whole purpose of the seizure is to at least make the victims as financially whole as possible. And we can do that by seizing the funds if we're able to locate them. We can freeze them and seize them back and get them back to the victims. It is a huge process, and we're actually going to go to a training here just to make that possible. So we're really trying to make that work, to get trained on doing that. Just a quick procedure. We make basically a cryptocurrency wallet that'd be a government wallet. Many businesses do that and support law enforcement in their work towards cryptocurrency.
This part's not really for public consumption, so close your ears. This is a technique.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So then we can draft and implement the seizure policy, which we already have an approved policy from the Attorney General's office, and then basically having trace capabilities, which we're getting ready to get on that. So for the seizure, this is as easy as it can be. Basically, we can trace and locate wherever that cryptocurrency went. In the best case scenario, we'll freeze it basically at that exchange, at that bank. We'll seize it, transfer to our wallet, and then back into the victim's wallet. So I don't want another case to happen like this, but I do because I want to get that money back. We really want to get that.
The mindset that it used to be was once you send crypto, you can never get it back. With help with other agencies, like the Attorney General's office has been we work with them very, very close. We've learned how to trace, but we need to get those certifications to do so we can make our victims whole as possible. It is possible, and we are going to do that.
And that's something that we can do for our victims. That's huge for us. So this is just a really quick example. This is what a typical kind of exchange would look like. On the left, your victim puts cash into the BTM, and it sends it to a bank. Once it's located at that bank, at that point, we'll try to seize that money that's still there, basically that asset. So if you see there, it's a little bit in depth, but usually they'll send it to multiple different wallets. That's why it takes a long time to trace these and time to figure out where those funds went. There's a very good process that we're trained on how to do that. Now we're working on the seizure part.
And just as of note, this was a trace done by Detective Hansen when we went to a training that was put on by the Attorney General's office. This was what he determined, and he was able to locate.
And we got good information back, but it was out of the country. So those cases are very hard. Feds won't really be able to help us with that. So we want to be able to be capable of doing that as Layton City.
And we weren't able to freeze the funds.
So, real quick, there's a new bill, the Senate Bill 173.
So, and this is in the works right now. It requires virtual kiosk operators to obtain money transmitter licenses. It's going to limit the virtual currency transactions for certain situations. There's going to be caps on amounts of how much somebody can, or how much, sorry, the virtual currency kiosk operator may charge. So not that 16%, it's going to be significantly lower. And then it requires virtual currency kiosks operation to provide certain fraud warnings. Now, think about it. How many times have we gone through something that we have to click, oh, I accept this, I accept this, I accept this, just because you want to download the app, you want to do this, you want to do that. People aren't going to read that. People aren't going to see the signs that we put up that's right by their face. We're quick to go through those. We're human. But if we can just take those machines out, we don't have to worry about that.
Why aren't we taking the machines
But
out?
that's what
That's
we're here,
that's
that's what we're
the
here
purpose
for.
of this.
That's the purpose of this meeting, is we
Dave, it's gonna
want
be
your
this.
thumbs up so
It's
that
gonna be
we can
this.
work with legal and come up
Dave, we're looking for your
with a
blessing.
city
We want it.
ordinance
We want to do it.
to ban it, because these signs
You don't
aren't
have to
working.
go any farther.
Well, we put this Senate bill up there just because, like, the BTMs, they're now at a state level. It's a big deal across almost the nation, right? Everywhere else. We put this up there just so we, you know, hey, it's a big deal everywhere.
They're trying to put restrictions, but they're not trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
We want to just
Get rid of them entirely.
They're 98% of the use is for fraud.
Yeah.
So we just want to get
So
rid of
I
all
have-
18 of them. Just similar to what we did with the gambling devices. I
Yep.
don't know if you remember that we
I
had
do.
problems with. We got rid of them because we couldn't create a city ordinance. We want to do
Yeah.
the same thing. We just want to get them out of our city. And we think when we do that, and become the first city to do that, other cities will follow suit.
Yeah, I agree.
I
Very good.
totally agree.
we want to
Very
be,
impressive what you guys have.
we want to be the spearhead, and we
educated.
want to create that snowball effect.
Yeah, it's good. This was
What's
worth
the
waiting
time
for.
frame?
We've got some drafts that we've stolen from other cities, so as quickly as we can get legal to put their legal touches on it, we're gonna try and streamline this, so.
Did you use the word stolen?
I heard borrowed.
I heard they were inspired by.
Inspired, there you go.
Inspired,
That's good.
yeah.
Yes.
Inspired.
What kind of questions do y'all have?
You have any questions?
Well, you know, it's obvious to me, anyway, and I'm sure to the rest,
Yeah.
that the sooner the better.
We agree.
You know, I mean, to be able to get rid of them in Layton, I believe that that would start a movement that would, other cities would do the same.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for being proactive about it. It's one
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
to- Oh, it's too bad. I guess we can't do it. Oh, we lost another one. It's
Yeah,
another thing to come up with a.
I've only been back there
solution.
for a year, and that was bothering me. It's like, I'll go from the street, chase guys, bad guys, get them, and then we go back to Frog Forty. I'm like, I gotta do something. We need to do something.
Yeah, this has been such a developing thing. It's
Could I-
just new, right?
Yeah, a lot of the, I would just also mention that a lot of this stuff is underreported for the reasons you mentioned.
Sure.
I had lots of my clients when I was in practice who were subjected to financial exploitation, and they didn't tell the authorities at all about it. So the numbers are shocking, but they're actually a lot worse.
Yes.
And so I appreciate you helping us be the tip of the spear, as you said, because it's something that we certainly. I go to the Chevron on Gentile.
Yeah.
West Chev?
And they have one in there.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
And I noticed it, and
I never
Did you notice all the
Believe me,
signs on it by
I've
chance?
been watching
I
it.
have to check.
There's one sign above it that's interesting, and it says, it's for the employees, and it says, you will never be asked to deposit cash into this machine. And that's for the employees. That's not for
Not
the
even for-
citizens. It's just a problem everywhere, and I don't think they're reporting if that's ever happened there.
Nine-Star Chevron, the gas station attendants there have tried to stop multiple people. That's where that photograph that we showed you was from. He has tried to stop multiple people, and these people get very aggressive with him to the point where he's just stopped trying to help these people.
It's no ill to.
You've even had businesses unplug them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unplug them when no one's around.
Yep.
Sure.
And then people get duped. It's just the bottom
These-
line.
these
So
suspects-
We gotta help them help themselves, so.
Well, I love
So,
the,
one quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You had mentioned legally transmitted through an app or a website and stuff. Is there a potential, what's the potential for fraud using a website or an app?
So I personally do cryptocurrency, and I just use an application on my phone that's basically just an exchange. Like I said, I pay minimal fees just for them to host my wallet, And
Right.
it's nothing compared. I would never even think to go get cash out of my bank to put into these crypto machines
No.
for my own investment.
So low risk and.
Oh, yeah, very controlled, and a lot of these exchanges, the businesses, they're very law enforcement friendly. They want to cooperate as much as they can.
And I'll explain why. It's easy to stay on the phone with somebody, and a lot of these pictures that we get from these BTMs, their victims are like this, on the phone. Because these criminals are walking them through step by step. Now, these machines are very user-friendly. Big touch screen that the guys on the other line, they know exactly what's going on. Okay, now push this. Okay, you're gonna need to create this. And they're just listening. On a phone, when you have an 80-year-old gal who barely has a new smartphone and she doesn't even know how to do that, which has happened here, it's easier to talk her through a BTM machine than it is a phone. So that's why these are they're targeted. They're easier, they're a lot more user-friendly.
Yeah, the phone has checks and balances in that as well. In the Bitcoin ATMs, basically you just put in a number and then put the cash in and it goes to that person. Very, very easy, very, very easy, so.
What would be the problem, or what would be the cost? I can't think of how I want to say this, if I went and painted it black.
I'm not gonna look, Dave.
Well, no, I just want to know.
So I said steel, and now he's talking about vandalism.
Dave, I gotta talk to you after the meeting.
It's a misdemeanor property.
Why don't we go straight to the thumbs up, right?
Just so you don't think he's up in the night, the only reason he created his own crypto account was so he could learn how.
I did. I don't care about cryptocurrency, but if I'm an investigator, I need to understand it.
Yeah.
And so I've messed around just with my own money just to figure out, I need to understand this so I know what's going on, so.
Well, I do,
don't think it's legitimate.
and I've never used a
Well-
machine, but
Thank you.
excuse me for saying this, but it upsets me, I'll say it nicely, that something that would be this obvious is still up. You know, that's what upsets me.
Yeah.
You know, if it was like 10%, okay, that's different, but to be 90-something%, come
Yeah,
on.
you're almost 100%.
Yeah, I mean, that's
And,
just,
and the owners are getting the 16%, but the rest of it's going to the bad guy.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the motive for having these
Yeah.
kiosks is because we're getting 16 up to 30%
It's wild.
of that. So it's just a criminal enterprise, period.
so can you come in tonight and ask if you can do something? I mean, shoot.
I thought you was gonna ask him to do ghost spray paint.
We have to,
Scared me. I was trying to be proactive.
we have to pass.
There's
it
different
over.
proactive approaches.
Yeah, yeah,
This one's a
yeah.
good
I
one.
got an email on my work email just last week with one of you
Yeah.
saying we've hacked all of your accounts, your work accounts and all that, and with a Bitcoin link.
Yeah.
On a work address, so
It's everywhere.
it's everywhere.
Well, my hat's off to you guys, and
Yeah,
Chief, you
mine
need to
too.
understand, these two gentlemen, you can trust any day, any time of day. I tried to get out of them, hey,
She
beforehand.
did, she did.
And they would not tell me.
What you talking about, Mayor?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I trust
So-
them, that's why you all are spending $3,000 for me to send them to Iowa to get certified, so we can start seizing this.
I'll give you 2 thumbs up. I really will, because I know it's worth it.
Well, if that be the case, send them tomorrow.
It's coming up soon. Thanks,
Yes.
guys. Thanks for your time.
You guys
Yeah,
all
no
good?
problem.
Thanks,
It was nice meeting
Yes.
y'all.
Okay, thank you, that was a very good
Thanks.
presentation. Excellent.
Very good.
Clint, before we go any further, on the next item on the agenda, I'm an employee of Davis and Weaver Canal Company. Do I need to excuse myself from this?
Only if you feel like it would be a conflict for you to participate.
Well, I'm not gonna make any money out of it, and it doesn't affect anything.
In a work meeting, we're not doing any decisions.
No, but
it's-
per the training I gave before, if you're gonna recuse in the
Yeah.
meeting where the action happens, then you should recuse all along. But basically, if you can make a fair and impartial decision, if you can say that, then then there's no need to recuse.
I believe I can make a fair and impartial decision.
Good. Okay, training in action. Okay, Steve, you're on.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. It's good to be with you again. I think we talked in November about this agreement that we've been working on for quite a while with Davis and Weaver County's Canal. Wanted to bring back to you the final agreement. Rick Smith, the general manager of Davis Weaver, is here as well if there's any questions for him after we're done. So just a recap of the history. In 2017, we updated our water master plan, and in that we wanted to optimize pressurized secondary water use in order to take some of the demands off of our culinary system. And And as part of that, consolidated the operations and maintenance of the pressurized secondary water throughout Layton City so that we could, right now, a lot of people don't understand where their water comes from, which is fine, but it makes it a lot easier when they call the city and then we don't say, well, you have to call so-and-so or whatever. So third-party operations have worked well, but we feel like this is a great way to go as far as the city. So in 2018, we entered an operating agreement with Layton and Weber Basin Water Conservancy District to operate their water system in the city. We didn't take over ownership of their system because a lot of their system is still owned by the Bureau of Reclamation. They're working on a transfer of that, but that's still, it literally will take an act of Congress, so they've got to keep going with that. But
It really will take an act.
yeah, they do have to get it approved by Congress. So, but they are working on it, so we'll see how that goes in the future. But in January of 2022, we finalized a transfer agreement with Case Creek Irrigation Company and began operating their water system, our water system now in the city. And then February 2026, we now have the Davis and Weber Counties Canal Company agreement that we've got for you tonight to consider. So just a real quick recap here. Areas in blue are the Weber Basin areas. The areas in red are the Case Creek areas. The areas in yellow are the Davis Weber Canal areas that we're talking about. And then this area kind of in the purple is the future expansion of the secondary system in Layton to be able to kind of offset some of the culinary demands that we have. So again, from the 2017 master plan here, you can see the pipeline systems there. These pipes in gray, this is the main trunk line out of the Davis-Weber Canal into their system there, and then there's some connection points from the Kaysville system that connect into these two areas. But this area in gray is the existing water system that Layton City operates. This is the pipeline that we've been talking about a long time about going under I-15 and whatnot. We'll have more conversation about that later. So let's talk about the terms of the agreement. Basically, it's been a lot of work with Rick and their group, but I'm going to try and make it as basic as possible. Davis and Weber Counties Canal Company will convey the pressurized irrigation system in Layton. It's approximately 1,350 connections and 23 miles of pipes and appurtenances. Davis-Weber retains the canal reservoirs and transmission lines not associated with the system in Layton, so they do have a large reservoir up off Church Street that will remain theirs, that services the system that they operate into Kaysville. The line that runs down Fairfield Road will remain with them as well. The hybrid users, we're calling them, they're the users that are on the pressurized system but still flood irrigate. They would remain Davis-Weber shareholders. And then all of the current flood irrigators on the West Layton ditch will also remain with Davis-Weber Counties Canal Company. So we felt like that was a really good compromise that we have. The city, we're pretty good at operating the pressurized systems, but we don't have a lot of interest in the flood irrigation, and we feel like Davis-Weber's better at that, and they've agreed that will work well for them. So part of that is there's a bilateral contract that was signed in 2002 between Layton and Davis and Weber, amended a couple times since. That will be terminated with the transfer agreement because it was the contract that stipulated the services of the pressurized water to the customers in Layton, so that will go away. There's a trilateral contract between the city, Davis-Weber, and Weber Basin. That one will be assigned. The rights, obligations, and liabilities from Davis-Weber or on that contract for Davis-Weber, those will be assigned to the city, so it will become basically a bilateral contract with Weber Basin and the city. And then there's 13 Davis-Weber contracts that are with Weber Basin that will be assigned to Layton City that we will take over in order to continue service of the pressurized system. So let's talk about what we're accepting and taking over with this transfer. The South Layton system, we'll call it. There's some areas, Flint Street is over here, and then Layton Parkway runs through the middle, and then you've got Phillips Street, and the city border is here in the dash line. So we've got basically 2 points or 2 little areas of the city that we will disconnect from the Kaysville portion of Davis-Weber canals at these 3 points, and then we'll make a couple connections on Layton Parkway to that existing line that I showed you on the other map, and that will basically remove their these two areas from the Davis-Weber pressurized system that is fed from the Kaysville side, and then it will put it onto Layton City's water there. And so we've even mentioned up here, excludes the Church Street reservoirs and all the stuff that stays with Davis and Weber. On the other side, up near 2200 West, so this line runs from Ellison Park and the fire station here, all the way up 2200 West, and then under I-15. This is the railroad right here, but then it continues in this little drop box here, and all the way up to I-15. There's a screen and a takeoff from the canal. We will own that screen and the diversion structure there all the way down 2200 West, and then all of the area in the blue pipes will become Layton Cities. These pink properties are the hybrid users that have been identified in one of the exhibits, and so any of those hybrid users would maintain their shareholder rights and everything with Davis and Weber, and the city would agree to, or has in this agreement, will provide water to those hybrid users through the system at no charge to Davis Weber or their users. So Davis Weber will manage all of those fees and everything that they need to charge to do that. And then also Layton City will pass the water through this system down into the West Layton ditch area that is south of here. There's a lot of different ditch lines that we aren't showing on these maps, but those will continue to be operated by Davis and Weber County's Canal. We will work with them as development occurs. A lot of those systems kind of transfer and change as parcels develop, but all of the flood irrigation will be maintained until the flood irrigation isn't needed anymore, and so we will continue to coordinate with each other. So anyway, I think I've covered a lot of these already. We'll disconnect from the South Layton secondary, we'll disconnect from Davis Weber's in the South Layton area. We'll deliver water through the system to the pressurized users and Davis Weber for the West Layton ditch. We'll pay our regular shareholder assessments. We do own shares of Davis Weber. We are a shareholder, and so we'll continue to pay those. We will also continue metering of the transferred connections. So if you recall, we had a second grant from the state. They got it. It was a big deal, I think, for both the Davis Weber and us, because Davis Weber wasn't necessarily going to be able to get to that portion of the city, and if we were working towards this transfer, they didn't want to put in meters that were kind of not work in our system and vice versa, and so it made a lot of sense for us to go receive this extra grant money and then continue putting those in. We do have a deadline of October. The contractor's doing a great job getting those installed, and so we're on track to get that done. Again, we would own, operate, maintain the transferred system. We would bill for the customers on the pressurized system. I know right now we're a pretty large group that Davis Weber bills for. A lot of other cities do their billing for them, so this would take a substantial workload from Davis Weber, where we just then would start billing for these 1,300 customers and be able to bill monthly instead of annually for them. A lot of them, I think, would prefer that monthly bill versus the annual bill. So a win-win for both of us there. And then again, coordinating future development modifications to West Layton ditch and with Davis Weber. In there, for Davis Weber's undertakings, they would provide the system documentation. We've received a lot of that and already in preparation for this, so if it goes through, we'll be able to hit the ground running. Again, mapping and billing information they've transferred to us so that we can go through those. We're working right now to set this up. If the council decides to move forward with this, we'll be able to start billing with the water season that's coming up. There's some assistance. They'll help identify and understand the transfer system in this first season, so that any assistance we need there we'll be able to have. And so hopefully the residents won't even see a change in how that system's operated. We don't want to just come in and flip everything on its head. If they've done a great job operating it, we'll try and continue doing that as well. As part of it, they'll assign the rights of ways and easements that they have for the system to the city, so that we have the same rights that they did. And then they'll continue to be the managers, I guess I'll call it, of the hybrid users or shareholders that are on their system as well. And then again, they would, in the agreement, agree to coordinate with us on the future development and modifications to the system, so that we can keep the West Layton ditch operational until it finally phases out. So real quick, the next steps would be, if this is approved, we got to make the disconnections to that South Layton system prior to April 15th, 2026, so it's coming up pretty quick. We need to get notifications out to the customers of the transfer of the system so that they know what's going on here shortly as we put the system out. So we've been working on some of those drafts to make sure we're ready to go if this gets all approved. And then again, coordinate the delivery of that water to the hybrid and the West Layton ditch people so that there isn't any hiccups with that as we get moving on that. And then we'll have to start the monthly billing for the water year and then continue with that installation of meters throughout the system. So we're complete by October of this year. So that's all I've got.
Busy.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy couple months for us for sure, and then the rest of the summer as we get through some of these areas with the meters. So, is there any questions I can answer for anybody?
Just curious, where's the water come from that's up in the Church Street Reservoir?
The Davis Weaver Church Street Reservoir? It comes out of their canal. Yeah. I mean, are you asking where it comes all the way?
Yeah, like where does it, obviously up
Can I ask
somewhere.
Rick?
I'm just curious.
The sky.
Yeah.
Okay, it snows and then.
No, so we have storage both in Echo and East Canyon
So you
reservoirs,
just-
and then down the river, then we divert from the river
Just
all the way
divert.
down that 17-mile canal, which ends at Church Street.
Okay, you just have, this is ours.
It's big.
Part of that water
We're-
tour we took.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
senior water right holders, so we actually get our water before Weaver Basin gets their water.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
But our connection right now will only be the one at the top of 2200 West at
Out west.
I-15 there.
Just the west side.
So like a typical turnout, yeah.
Yeah, just a typical turnout.
So you're not gonna go down 2200? That's a personal question for anybody else.
In other words,
No,
we
there is,
deliver
there
service
is,
today.
there is plans to expand. If you look at our other map here, there
Yeah.
is plans to come up 2200 and connect some of those areas, Dave, so.
Okay, get rid of the ping.
We're working on it, let me say that.
Okay.
Any other questions I can answer? Okay.
I think we're
Thank
good.
you, appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Drake, you have 9 minutes.
I won't need that unless you all
Okay, we'll give you 5.
would like
It's
it.
billable hours, so that is,
Yeah.
I'll take
Just to
all
follow
night.
up, this is for our 3200 West, West Hill Field project. We, as you know, for most of our real estate transactions, we use the same form. And so I'm not gonna go over the agreement in detail because it's basically the same form with the exception of there's a couple of places that always are different, right? The price and then any special conditions. So this one's a little bit more complex because we came up, it was actually Stan Layton's idea, and it turned out to be a great idea. By the way, he is not gonna be here tonight. He's helping his daughter with some moving, and I told him he didn't need to be here anyway, but he told me that he wouldn't be here, and to let you all know that he's satisfied with this agreement. And he did say that he might give some of you a call that maybe had talked to him about it before, so I'm not sure if he had a chance to or not, but we had great meetings. I was able to meet with him a couple times in the last couple of weeks, and it was really, really good. So in a nutshell, this is the property that we need there that you can see in the gray and the black. And so he's going to deed to us those parcels, which will allow us to expand the right-of-way, include curb, gutter, and sidewalk, which will also help, our primary driver there is we want our school kids and families to be safe as they're walking on the sidewalks. Rather than just paying outright for that, we actually own a piece of property just to the east. So if you were just to follow this piece of property up just a couple of blocks, there's this parcel right here that is owned by the city. Stan Layton owns this surrounding property, and so it was actually his suggestion that we just transfer or trade these properties. So he owns, we own this property, he owns this property. They're about the same, but not quite. His is a little bit more. So what we did is we just traded. The agreement is to trade the properties square foot per square foot. That is actually a really nice thing for him because it squares off the property and allows him to use it a little bit differently and hopefully in a little bit more beneficial way. I think that is both for farming and for development into the future. I think it's beneficial both ways. And then because the property that we are taking is a little bit more than that property, then we just took the appraised value of the property and paid for that. So that's about $54,000 that we will pay in addition to the swap. And then one last thing, just as far as special conditions go, there's a gated pipe that runs around right in this area that is used to irrigate the property. We provided some money for him to replace or relocate that gated pipe. And he's gonna go ahead and do that. Him and his lessee have talked about it. We met with them on the property. They're going to move it or replace it themselves. That's part of the condition of the agreement, that they'll be responsible to do that. They thought that was favorable to them because they can do it under the conditions that they would like to do it at the time that they'd like to do it, rather than as part of a phased construction project. And then just, so we paid, there's the property swap, the $54,000, and then about $25,000 of additional money to go for the gated pipe and related impacts of the purchase. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, that's it in a nutshell.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
So, thanks for that, by the way. It was very thorough.
Yeah.
But my one question was, I thought that there was a time constraint on them replacing something. Something
Yeah.
had to be done by
Yeah, there
watering
is.
season
It's
of
before the
2026.
watering season starts, and they're aware of that. And,
Okay.
and when I last met with Stan on Friday, and he said that him and the lessee were out there just the day or two before, kind of working through that. And like I said, he had indicated that he really liked the idea of them moving it because they can do it on their timeline when the field's not muddy, when they have the ability to do it. And so they're
Is that
aware of
what
it.
you
They
mean?
know it's a priority for us. We know that water's obviously a priority for them. But this will allow them to do it in their own time frame.
So their time frame, but before.
It has to be done before April
Okay.
15th.
Our
Yeah,
contractor is going to modify the irrigation structure that is in the right of way, and then they will connect their pipe onto that. So that's the time frame we have to get done before the water system starts being used. And then they can put their pipe in whenever they need to.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted that clarification, because it's
Finding
their own
waters in by
time frame,
15.
but still has to be.
To be
Yes.
determined?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on their timeline, but it has to be before the
Yeah.
watering season.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Which is obviously their priority anyway.
Correct, yeah.
And wouldn't it be before it affects our contractor doing the work if he needs to impact that?
Yeah, I don't think our contractor will be doing anything before the watering season starts, anything that would
Well,
impact
yeah,
that.
They want to move the irrigation, and then there's plenty of other places that they're.
So as long as it's out of the way, I don't want to slow down the contractor.
Yeah, and they're aware of that.
Yeah, and I got the impression from Stan that their plan is to do it as soon as, at the next dry opportunity.
Good, very good. That's good news. Okay, you guys good with everything? If so, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn and we'll reconvene.
We'll make some, said motion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I'll acknowledge. Go ahead and get our Layton City Council meeting underway this evening. I appreciate everyone that's here. It looks like we've got quite a few folks in the audience, including some scouts, which is awesome. We don't see all the time, so thank you for being here. As customary, we'd like to start all of our meetings with a prayer and a pledge, and we take turns. And so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Councilmember Colombianos to conduct that portion of our meeting.
Thank you, Mary. I'd like to introduce Grant Memmott. He is a U.S. National Championship, and I'm going to get this right. UCI World Youth Games, and he represented the United States of America in Poland in 2022. If you don't know what this is, it's a jumping off large objects without a seat. So the only U.S. citizen to ever represent the USA in the national games. Grant, it's all yours.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful to come here together as community members and people, and we pray that this meeting can be productive and unify the community. We pray for this country and the leaders of it, both for the nation and for this community. Pray that they can know how they can best lead these people. And we're grateful for the rain that we have received and snow, and we pray for more of it. We're grateful for all the members of this community and pray that we can support one another and in all the things that we do and learn from one another. We're grateful for this evening and all that you have blessed us with, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Will you all please rise and receive the Pledge of America? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, very interesting. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction as well. That's good to know some of the unique things that take place within our city. Okay, before I get going, I do want to acknowledge one other guest that we have here with us. To my right, I have Lyra. I wanted to make sure I said that. Gutierrez, who is part of our youth council, and she is the current mayor pro tem. So I'm going to ask you, if you wouldn't mind, I know some of the others have explained what youth council's about. Why don't you explain or share maybe one of your favorite experiences?
One of my favorite experiences I've had with Layton City Youth Council is that every year we get to help with the 4th of July parade, and we get to go around and hand out popsicles and see all the people, and it's really awesome.
Love it. Well, thank you, because it does take an army to get all those popsicles out to everyone, and we appreciate the donations that we receive for that. Okay, Council, we have 3 sets of minutes that we need to approve. If there's no corrections to it, then I'd look for a motion. And if you could, just go ahead and state the meeting and the date.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we accept the minutes of Layton City Council meeting November 20th, 2025, the Layton City Council meeting minutes from December 4th, 2025, and the meeting minutes from the Layton City Council Strategic Planning Work Meeting, December 11th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second that we adopt the minutes as written. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. We'll now go on to our municipal announcements. So any of the council members that have any announcements they'd like to share with everyone, please go ahead.
Well, I've got here that there's a free family entertainment. Free family entertainment. Doesn't happen too often. That you explore America's 250. Now, we all know that this is America's 250th birthday, and so we'll be celebrating it all year long. This is at the library, and you'll learn the history of our country. So you can take your kids, and they'll have classes. And is there anybody here from the library? There better be cake and ice cream. I only go to birthdays when there's cake and ice cream. So, but if there's not, I apologize in advance. So, go to the library. Oh, and it'll be on, where we have us. We don't have a date on this, Dave.
17th.
Okay, it'll be the 17th of March.
Is
Okay,
that St.
thank you.
Patrick's Day?
Evidently. So evidently
Well, you can
we're
dress in green as
too.
well.
Yeah.
Red, white, and blue, and green.
Yeah, we're green.
I apologize, it's the 20th of March this year.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Oh, it's in March?
20th. So it's March 20th, not the 17th.
Okay, did I hear something wrong or did I say it wrong?
No? You're
Okay,
good. You're
it's
good.
on March 20th. I lied. We're blue.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything? No? Okay. Let's go ahead then and just a minute. You can make a comment under citizens' comment if you don't mind. Okay, so that takes care of our municipal announcements. We do not have any verbal petitions. So now I'll go on to our citizens' comment portion of our meeting. So anyone who wishes to address us, you're more than welcome to. Come up to the mic, state your name, what city you're from, and then please keep in mind that any discussion or anything you bring before us, that this governing body will not take any action. It's due to a state code, but certainly we will take action and your concerns and follow up with you. So go ahead.
My name's Irene Hill, and I'm from Layton City, and I just was letting everybody know we're having the museum 250th anniversary exhibit kickoff grand opening next Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m.
That's all. Perfect. Hey, wait, before you go, give us a little dribble on what all was that people can see there.
Oh, okay. So we've pretty much gotten all kinds of different things from the last 250 years, including toys. And it's all at the museum, and there's going to be a craft there and mini cupcakes for everybody. So
there's your cupcakes. I love it. Thank you, Irene. We appreciate that. Okay, anyone else?
My name is Nancy George. I live in Layton. I am serving right now as the board chair for the Davis Arts Council, and we wanted to take a couple of minutes and introduce our new executive director, Lisa Zamora. Lisa comes to us most recently from the Eccles Theater, where she served as the Community Activation and Event Manager for Salt Lake County Arts and Culture. She has a long and storied background with Ballet West. She has a bachelor's and a master of fine arts in ballet. She is a resident of Davis County in Bountiful, and we are so delighted to have her serve as our executive director. And I'm going to let her share a couple of things with you.
Lisa Hoyt from Bountiful. It is a pleasure to be introduced to you this evening. As I look to leading the next era of the Davis Arts Council, I'm driven by the organization's rich history of access to the arts for all members of our community. I look forward to strengthening DAC's programming that has been celebrated for many years. I'd like to take this moment to thank Layton City and you as its key members of its leadership for your unprecedented commitment to the arts. It's inspiring and appreciated. As your resident arts partner, Davis Arts Council looks not only to be a leader in bringing quality arts experiences to all Layton City residents, but also to support and lift up the artistic endeavors of our community members. We're excited about our upcoming Summer Nights with the Stars season, which we're announcing one concert at a time over the next few weeks. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and join our newsletter to stay in the know. Season tickets become available on March 16th, and single ticket sales open on April 21st. Thank you.
Wait, you can't leave. You guys need to say what you've announced already. What shows have you booked?
All right, we already have the Marshall Tucker Band. Edward, oh my goodness, Edwin, what's his last name? Yeah, Edwin with 5 for Fighting as well. We also have the Doo-Wop Project, and we announced today that we have Yachtly Crew. Sorry, we have a lot of names flowing in our minds, but yeah, Yachtly Crew was announced today at noon, so check us out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
Yeah, that's not Motley Crue.
They are a yacht rock band.
Okay,
Yachtly
we'll
Crew.
take that.
Yeah.
Anything over 30 years old, we'll take.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor, Council, thanks for the opportunity to address you tonight. I feel a little awkward. I work for a municipality, and so this is kind of weird to sit on this side of the podium, but I just wanted to kind of bring a couple things to your attention. My name's Bryce King. Yesterday, we had a water leak on my street. I live in 3340, 2175 East. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to the 4 guys that were there from 10 in the morning till I went to bed at 10, so my wife said 11:30, so huge shout out to them for starting it and finishing it. But the only thing that I would like to maybe give a couple suggestions is there wasn't any communication that went out to any of us as residents. There wasn't an email or a text or anything like that. And so I don't know if it was just something that was forgotten. People in my neighborhood were texting me because I have a certain church calling, and so people are asking me what's going on in the neighborhood. Luckily, I have some good contacts in Layton City. Dave Price helped me out a little bit, and so I think in the future, if we could have some sort of mechanism, whether it's an email through the utility billing system or a text message out to people, that would be super helpful. I know in the municipality that I work for right now, we're working with a company that would potentially be able to basically take all of our utility billing people and put them into a software, and I would literally be able to click on any house that would be affected and send them a text and an email to communicate to the residents. So that's something that could be potentially done. Maybe an alert bar on the top of the website just saying, hey, look, there's a water break on X street, just be prepared. Or my neighbors had to call dispatch, the police, to kind of understand what was going on. And so those are just some ideas, maybe an icon on the main page that says communications, of maybe kind of some of those updates. I personally run communications in my city, and I hate social media for these types of things because not everybody in the city needs to know about a water break that's happening on my street. So that would be my last choice. Maybe Nextdoor is something you could look into as potentially leveraging. Trying to think what else I had on my list. When I searched communications in the website, it took me to management services, and it just took me to a paragraph that said communications and explained to me what it was. So maybe in that link, it could just have another sublink that went directly to whatever contact information, like non-emergency number for Public Works or whatever it may be. So those are just some suggestions. Maybe just another suggestion as far as the management of the scene. The road closed sign just said workers ahead at the bottom of the road. And the way that road goes, it goes up and then it kind of comes down. And so maybe having more of a road closed ahead, because once you get to that certain point, there's nowhere else to go other than turning back around. Also to protect your guys, I really appreciated them plowing snow all day and then coming and fixing my water leaks. So just huge shout out to Public Works. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. There is just for the record, anybody listening, there is an opt-in program that you can do through our utilities department. So that is available. Any other comments?
Jennifer Bazzano. I am here in Layton. Got to be looking a little bit familiar by now, but I do want to make it clear I voted for the ramp tax because I'm a huge advocate for Parks and Rec and all the arts that it brings, because my children are both artists by trade, dancers. Why they picked that, I don't know, because as you know, there's no money there. Anyway, I'm a huge advocate for the arts. I voted for who I voted for this year in the election for one big reason: dog parks. I'm back again for dog parks. The fact that the biggest city in the county doesn't have anywhere for dogs to be off leash, unless you want to take them up on the trail where they get stuck in an animal trap, which is now, I know, illegal in Layton city bounds, not other cities though. The fact that there's nowhere for us to take our dogs to socialize, not only the dogs, give them a safe place to be off leash, to socialize as dog owners. A lot of us don't have children. I don't have children here. I built new construction, so I paid a big chunk of money to Parks and Rec. I don't use any parks. I don't play pickleball. I don't have little kids. The only thing I would use in the city is a dog park. But you're not filling that little portion, little meaning between 35 and 40% of Layton City citizens have dogs. That's a huge amount of people that are going unnoticed and set aside. And the latest thing I heard was that the kickback on a dog park was because other citizens without dogs would be uncomfortable going there. Great. They have 35 other parks where dogs aren't allowed to be. Go somewhere else. And the place they're looking at putting a dog park, Eastridge, is that correct? Talking about, nobody's going to want to go there and hang out anyway. It's solely for dogs. I just don't understand what the kickback is, why it's taking so long. I did read through all the minutes. The agenda for this meeting was really hard to find online. I actually was never able to find it. I looked through all the ramp meetings, and Clint, hope you don't mind me using your first name, but I don't have my glasses on. I did see that you suggested or said that somebody was going to get a study together to ask for some ramp money to possibly help support putting in a dog park. So I hope that will come to fruition. Like I said, there's a really large portion of Layton citizens that are not being served fairly. No kids. I don't play pickleball. I don't use parks. I would use this one little tiny 10-acre, whatever it is, and a lot of us would.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing that there's no more citizens' comment, we'll go ahead and move on to our consent items tonight. Just so you know, our consent items will be presented, and then this governing body will be able to act upon them in one single motion. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and have Weston Apolloni come up, and he's going to talk about the MODAs at 3 Farm annexation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good to be with you this evening. Before you tonight is a petition for an annexation. This is the first step of a 3-part process. We're going to currently work on the acceptance of the petition of the annexation. If this is accepted through the council and passed, the next city council will bring forth the certification of that petition. And then after that, staff will work with the applicant and will eventually bring forward the rezone request for the property, as well as the annexation, the approval of the annexation. So tonight, we're just looking at the acceptance of the petition for the annexation. The petitioner is Greg Timothy with Ivory Development, representing the property owners for Ivory Ivory Land Corporation and Mata Family Farms. This is 62.723 acres. And this is identified in the map you see above you. The proposed area for the annexation is south of Gentile Street, west of 2700 West, and north of the State Road 177, which is the West Davis Highway. This is the area. It's broken into 2 parcels you can see, and you can see back on this map here, you can see it divided into the white line. Again, this is merely just the acceptance, so we're not approving the annexation tonight. Following the adoption of the resolution, staff will initiate the necessary annexation procedures as outlined in state law. The request for the general plan amendment and the rezone will be brought back to the council for review under a separate action. Staff recommends the council adopt Resolution 2610, accepting the petition for annexation and directing staff to initiate the necessary annexation procedures. Any questions?
Okay. Any questions, council?
I have one question.
Weston, did you say that this is 2 parcels or is it 3?
It is 2 parcels.
Okay. I'm just
As a part of the rezone, there will be more parcels, but as far as what's being annexed, there's 2 parcels.
Okay. I just see that extra line up top with the,
You're talking about this here?
yeah.
I can answer.
That is a 3rd
That's not
parcel.
it.
Yes, I apologize. There is 3 parcels there, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, did you
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
get that confirmed?
Yeah. That was my only question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Looks like 3. Okay, any other questions? Okay, good, we'll go ahead and move on. We'll go on to item number B, which Ms. Joylyn Grandy's going to present the bid award for the West Davis Corridor Landscape Project.
Well, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, Madam Mayor and council members. Excuse me. I'm here to bring before you Resolution 2607, which will be to authorize the execution of an agreement between Layton City and Merrill Sheriff Construction for the construction of the West Davis Corridor Landscape Projects. Project 2501. I have some slides that I want to share with you that illustrates what the project encompasses, and so I'll take some time to walk you through each of those sections. This is a context map to help you to understand where we'll be discussing today. I'm going to start up in the top, I guess your left-hand corner, the 2700 West Park Strip area. And this is a slide that will bring you into that zoomed in section. We're looking to add some park strip tree plantings in this area. It's pretty important. It's our 2700 West exit off of the new corridor and will be the gateway into the business district in this area that we have planned. And so we're looking to dress it up, make it look nice, add some street trees and underplantings. And then from there, I hope you've been able to go over to the trailhead that's also off at that exit that you can take. And it's a great access to jump onto the new corridor trail and to be able to ride along that beautiful scenic ride. We are looking to make a number of improvements in this area just to make it more accommodating for our trailhead users and those who will be riding on the trail. Some of the amenities that we will be adding will be an extension of the stamped concrete here to be able to delineate better the area that's for bike riders versus automobile traffic. We'll also be adding an auto rail along here. It's a little steep, so we want to just make sure it's safe for those who may be taking that turn in. And then we're also adding a raised concrete barrier to make it more prominent where bikers are to go versus where the automobiles are to be located. And then moving over, you get into the main section where you park. Very excited for this section that we'll be updating and bringing in some amenities. First of all, we'll be adding a concrete pad here with a bike repair station and then a bicycle rack area. And then over here, we'll be extending concrete pad here where there'll be some benches and then a small kiosk. And I'm very excited about the information that'll be provided on this kiosk. There'll be 3 different panels. One will just talk about the trail system that we have here in Layton, so you can understand where you are and what trails you can go on from there. One of the panels we're hoping to do is we'll talk about the cultural history. This was part of the Gold Rush Trail, back in the 1800s. And so there'll be a part that talks about that. And then we also want to talk about the geography and the animals that are in that area. And we're so lucky to be able to have the Nature Conserve, Shorelands Preserve right across from there, and to be able to talk about the birds and the purpose of that site and to encourage people to go over and learn more at that location. So those are what those 3 panels are to be talking about. We'll also be adding a 2-rail wood fence along here to be able to delineate better where bikers are to go, where their entrances are into the trailhead, parking lot area. So those are some of those amenities that we'll be adding. This location is down at Weaver Lane. at the end of the cul-de-sac where our Case Creek Estates future park site is located. And we're looking to just create a better delineation of the boulders that are placed there, just to make it very clear this is where bikers get on, and to be able to make it more controlled at that location. And then we did have a bid alt that was provided in our project package. And this is located, here's Layton Parkway up here, 2200 West. And then it curves around, and then it goes and changes into 1700 West. Just south of there is the Shoreline Layton Junior High, just to help you get some context of where we are. These parcels right here will be dedicated to Layton City, and so we're looking to beautify that a little bit. We'll be adding native grass. We're looking to be water-wise conscientious, but we do want to add a couple clusterings of trees to be able to beautify that area. And then this takes us to the results of our bid opening. We had, let's see here, we advertised the bid on November 19th of 2025, and we had 5 contractors that were qualified to be able to put in for the bid. On January 21st of 2026, we received 3 bids, and Merrill Sheriff Construction was identified as the apparent low bidder at that time. And was also, after we reviewed all the numbers and costs that were provided, they were also identified as the most lowest responsible bidder, and they came in at $369,892 with 77 cents. Now, before I move forward with the recommendations, I do want to just provide an update for you. We did receive UDOT funds for this project to be able to help us with these amenities and beautification for our city. To date, we have, if it's approved tonight and we're able to move forward with Merrill Sheriff Construction, we'll have spent $392,893, which will leave us with an amount of $107,107. And so we're looking ahead about what else could we do. And just quickly, I wanted to share with you our next phases that we would like to recommend at this time. We'd like to look at the Case Creek Estates Park site that we have. This is a future project. And with some of those funds is to be able to add a tree buffer along this space. So those trees will have a little bit of a jump start before we actually develop that park. And then the other area that we'd like to focus on takes us back to the 2700 West entrance. And like I mentioned, this is the gateway to our city off of the West Davis corridor. And we would like to, somewhere along this buffer line here on the, east side of 2700 West, is to add another Welcome to Layton City sign like those that we have off of I-15. And so those are 2 spaces that we're looking into to be able to use all of the funds that we've been given to be able to help beautify this space. So anyway, that's just some context there, but bringing it back to our purpose here tonight is to make a recommendation that we adopt Resolution 2607, authorizing the city manager to conduct negotiations and execute the agreement between Layton City and Merrill Sheriff Construction for the construction of the West Davis Corridor Landscape Project 2501. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Go ahead.
Joellen, can you describe the panels that you were going to put at 2700, the historical signs, one more time for me?
Oh, sure. One of them will be about the trail system that we have in the city, and a great place that you can go where we have one of these already, well, a couple of these where we have built. There's the Adams Canyon Trailhead. That's a good one you can go look at. And then there's also one just off of Vance Drive near the DNRG Rail Trail and Case Creek Trail cross. So same kind of concept, but one of them will be about the trail systems. One of them will be about cultural history, for example, the Gold Rush. And then the third one will be about the Shorelands Nature Preserve.
What about the indigenous community that was here? Have you looked at addressing that in any of these signs?
Yes, that would be part of the cultural history. Yep, and we're working closely with the museum, which is a great resource.
And the Shoshone tribe?
Yes.
Very good. Okay,
I just had one question. I appreciate the foresight of looking at the remaining funds and seeing where they could go. I do remember that maybe it was over a year ago that there was the community that was just west of 2700 West that was inquiring about some of those UDOT landscaping funds to add more trees to the area over there because of a sound buffer, which I know was not necessarily a part of this, but they did mention that there was UDOT funding to beautify the area and whatnot. Just wondering, I mean, I know you mentioned putting some of those trees near the Case Creek for the future, if there was any thought put into maybe going back to that area since that community had brought that up. So just wondering if there was any thought around using some of those funds to add trees over in that area.
Oh, that's a great question. Our focus first of all was trying to make sure the trail and those amenities were number one. And then any properties that are Layton City, we want to make sure that we take care of those. And then definitely focusing on those next two phases that we talked about, the Case Creek Estate Park buffer area, and then the gateway signage. And then we can definitely look into seeing if there's extra funds there and look at that. I do know that most of those areas, back when the project was being developed, and we were very much a part of the UDOT engagement process, and we heard all of the many things that came through. And I do know that just the berming was a big deal too, and making sure that that was there. I think a challenge might be is just getting water there, but we'll look into it.
Very good. Anything else? Okay, thank you, Joellen.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on then to item number C, which Mr. Jackson will be presenting this item regarding pressurized irrigation system.
Mayor and Council, it's good to be with you tonight. For your consideration is Resolution 2609, which is the pressurized irrigation system transfer agreement between Layton City and Davis and Weber County's Canal Company. We've been working on this agreement for quite some time with Davis and Weber County's Canal. And just to give a little bit of history as to why this agreement has come to you tonight, back in 2017 when Layton City adopted our water master plan, part of that master plan was to optimize the pressurized secondary irrigation water use throughout the city in order to take some demands off of our culinary water system and just optimize the water resources that we have throughout the city available to us. And part of that optimization was also to consolidate operations and maintenance of the pressurized secondary systems in Layton so that residents basically just had, to call the city and work with the city on these things, and we felt like that was a better way to manage the water in this area. So we started out with an operating agreement with Weber Basin Water Conservancy District to operate their secondary water system here in Layton back in 2018. Then we signed an agreement with Case Creek Irrigation Company to transfer their pressurized irrigation system to the city in January of 2022, and now we're 4 years later, February 2026, here with this agreement with Davis and Weber County's Canal Company. So in this map from the master plan, you can see the area in blue is the Weber Basin area that we have been operating since 2018. The red is the Case Creek area since 2022, and then we're talking about the yellow areas that will be the Davis-Weber areas transferred to Layton City with this agreement. As we look at the master plan for planned projects, you can see there's quite a few improvements that we're planning to make and are underway as we move forward, and so this is an integral part of that master plan in order to optimize the secondary water use throughout the city. So the terms of the agreement, if I can quickly go through those, is that Davis and Weber County's Canal Company will convey the pressurized irrigation system in Layton City to Layton. Approximately 1,350 connections with 23 miles of pipes and appurtenances that we would take over and maintain. Davis Weber would retain the canal reservoirs, transmission lines that are not associated with the transferred system. The hybrid users, there's a few system users that flood irrigate off of the pressurized system. Currently, they would remain Davis Weber shareholders and have all of their interactions with Davis-Weber as well, and then the West Layton ditch that is connected to this system would remain with Davis-Weber Canal until such time as the development or things change, that they would become pressurized. So there is a bilateral contract between Davis-Weber and Layton City that was signed in 2002 that addressed the pressurized system and delivery here in Layton. That will be terminated with this agreement. The trilateral contract between the city, Davis-Weber, and Weber Basin Water Conservancy District, that will become a bilateral contract where all of the rights, obligations, and liabilities of Davis-Weber will transfer to the city. And then there are 13 water purchase contracts with Weber Basin that are currently in the name of Davis-Weber that will be transferred to Layton City as well. So the portions of the area that we're taking over or transferring to the city here, on the south end there, west of Flint Street and kind of around south of Layton Parkway to the city border, there's 3 disconnects that will be made. We'll take that system off of the system in Kaysville that Davis-Weber operates, and then we'll make some connections on Layton Parkway to bring that system into the water that Layton City delivers through our pipeline in Layton Parkway. On the West Layton system, west of 2200 West from essentially Ellison Park to the north, that system will transfer to us. There's a pipeline that runs all the way from I-15 down 2200 West through Clearfield and then into Layton. That will become Layton City's obligation to own and maintain. All the areas that are shown in pink there are the hybrid users that have been identified that will remain Davis-Weber shareholders but receive water off of the system. And then to the bottom of this image, the south here, is where the West Layton ditch system, the flood irrigation continues, and so there's a connection to that is a turnout basically that will be operated. Water will be delivered through this system to those users on the West Layton ditch to Davis-Weber to be able to continue their flood irrigation practices until such time as the development changes that system. So again, the city will disconnect the South Layton system and put it onto the Layton Parkway. We'll deliver that water and continue to deliver that water to Davis-Weber and the hybrid users. We'll continue to pay our shareholder assessments on the shares that we own with the city. We are in the process of metering the transferred connections. We received a grant from the state to use with the funding for secondary metering, and so we're using that to pay for 65% of metering costs, and then the city is covering those other costs to make sure the system will operate with our current meters that we have. Again, we would own and operate the system. We would bill for the customers on the pressurized system, and then we would coordinate any future development modifications to that West Layton ditch system with Davis-Weber Canal. Davis-Weber, their undertakings in this agreement is they would provide the documentation for the system so the city has the information it needs to operate the system, and the mapping that they have. They would assist us with identifying and understanding how the transferred system works through this first season. They would assign any rights of ways, easements for the transfer system to the city, so we have the options and the rights to continue to operate the system as it has been used. They continue to have the hybrid system or hybrid users and the other shareholders with Davis-Weber as their customers or their shareholders until such time as the transfers would happen to become pressurized, and then they would coordinate with the city on future development modifications. So if the council chooses to approve this tonight, the next steps the city would take is we would start the process to disconnect those 3 points from the South Layton system prior to the April 15th water season. We need to send notices to all of the customers on the transfer system prior to the season, letting them know that the city is going to be operating that in the future and moving forward. We'll coordinate that delivery of the water for the upcoming flood irrigators so that we make sure that isn't interrupted in any way. Begin billing monthly for the system, just like all of our other pressurized secondary water users. And then we'll continue that installation of the meters throughout the system until the end of October, when we need to have that finished up to meet the obligations of the grants that we received. So with that, staff recommends the council adopt Resolution 2607, authorizing the mayor or city manager to execute the pressurized irrigation system transfer agreement between Layton City and Davis and Weber Counties Canal Company for the transfer of the pressurized system from Weber and Davis Counties Canal to Layton. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Any questions, council? I know we went over it in depth in the work meeting. Maybe just for clarification, in case anybody's listening,
Yes.
please state the fact that there will be no disruption in their service.
Yes, we anticipate that the shareholders on the system, hybrid flood users, will not see any difference in the way the system operates or is managed in that regard, and the customers that are currently on the pressurized system, we anticipate won't see any difference in how it's operated either. The pressures won't change, things like that. So hopefully it's a very, very seamless transition between the operations, and then we'll move forward. So,
Steve, can you address, if you can, notice to customers to what you plan on doing that, if you can?
So
I don't want to see. I don't want to have residents calling the city or calling the canal company. This system's been in for 25 years, so.
Yeah, so the plan, similar to what we did when Case Creek transferred over to Layton City, we have a notice that we anticipate sending out that basically just says, hey, this is the transfer of the system has occurred. Layton City is now the operator of the system. If you have any questions, here's the contact information for people to call with Layton City. If you're a hybrid or a shareholder or something, then continue to call Davis Weber and work with them. And so we anticipate working with Rick Smith and his team at Davis Weber to make sure that it's a very seamless transition with the notice taking care of both systems at once. So we don't need to send two out that say, hey, we're doing this and they're doing that. It should be one notice for them, and we hope to get it out here fairly quickly if this gets approved.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing that there's none, go ahead and stay up there, and you can go on to item number D.
Perfect. Resolution 2612 for your consideration tonight, Mayor and Council, is approving an agreement amending an existing right-of-way and easement agreements between Layton City and Questar Gas Company, who is now doing business as Enbridge Gas Utah. Along the Bamberger Trail here in Layton, there's a large gas line that runs from, runs a long way, but I'm just going to talk about the part from Gentile Street up to about 400 west there. Enbridge Gas has come to the city, worked with the engineering group to talk about a project that they need to do. They have a 20-inch gas line that needs to be upsized, and the 20-inch line is being retired and the 24 is being installed. So with that, we have some agreements for easements that are dated, April of 1957 and January of 1958, respectively. So things have changed a little bit since then, and so this agreement is amending those right-of-way easements and agreements to allow Enbridge to not only upsize the pipe from the 20 to the 24, but establish the width of the easement. It wasn't really defined as well as it could be today, so it's a 30-foot easement that's being established. And then I didn't show the whole project extent. It's a huge project, and they've done a great job to try and mitigate any impacts that are going on. But the small area here you see in the shaded area at Church Street with the new bridge, the gas line needs to run outside of the existing easement that is currently there. And so this is an added area that would be included in this new agreement and easement to allow that pipeline to go in. So we anticipate it to be a great project and a really necessary project with the growth that we're seeing throughout the area. And so with that, staff recommends that council adopt Resolution 2612 and approve the amendment to the right-of-way and easement agreements between Layton City and Questar Gas Company doing business as Enbridge Gas Utah, and authorize the mayor to sign the necessary documents. If you have any questions, I can answer.
Okay, questions?
Just one. In 57 they put in a 20-inch.
Mm-hmm.
So now they want to put in 24.
Yeah.
Is that big enough? We've grown a lot since 57.
Yeah, we're confident that Enbridge has done the homework they need to and have sized the pipe appropriately. But yeah, I think they've also had other pipelines that have gone in around the area. So yeah, we're confident that they they do that. We do have some people here from Enbridge if you want to ask them more questions. But yeah, the pipe, I think the pipe's the right size.
24 sounds big, it just seems, if 20 was big in 57, we're a little bit bigger.
I think they
than
had a
we were.
lot of capacity in 57 that let them get to 2026 before they needed to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilmember?
Thank you. I have a question. You said that this is a large project. Do you know how long it would take to complete this? Like what the timeline would be?
If I could defer to Joe, would you, or one of you guys, would you mind?
You can come up to the mic.
Jump up to the mic here for me and.
Actually, Darren is actually our project manager, right here, this one?
Yeah, that one over, yeah.
Darren Crum is our project manager over the project, and so he can answer the question on the schedule.
Yeah.
I was the design engineer on the project, and 24 inches perfect for us. This is a long pipeline established over the years, and like Steve was saying, we have a lot of other, tap lines and gate stations we've since installed since 1957, so this is plenty good for the capacity of what we need for future. But go ahead, you can answer on the schedule.
Yeah, so on the construction schedule, we're anticipating between 2 to 3 years, depending on how the progress goes. This won't be continuous. With the heating season, we'll probably have to shut the work down during the winter months and then pick it back up in the spring. But somewhere between the 2 to 3 year mark is how long we think it'll take.
Just for this section or for the whole thing?
For the whole thing. For this section, this should only take a couple of months.
Do you have an intention of starting this section first, or just as it goes along, you have to build it as you go?
Just as we go along.
Yeah.
Correct.
Any other questions? Okay. It's a big undertaking.
It's been great, and the city's been great working with, and we came ahead to kind of talk about this because of the how old this thing is and how much we've been encroached upon, and anyway, trying to find, we looked to reroute to avoid this area, but this was the best route for the city and for everybody. So anyway, thank you to Steve and Brian that we worked with.
Okay, we have one more question.
Just curious. Thank you, Mayor. Just curious where it's beginning and where it's ending. You say 2 to 3 years geographically.
Correct, yeah. So beginning of the project would be at Gentile Street, and then it would be going all the way north past Fort Lane up to SR 193 up in Clearfield.
Thanks. North to Fort Lane. Okay. All right, any other, we're good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we've got one last item that we need to cover tonight in our consent items, and I'm going to turn the time over to our attorney, Clint Drake.
Thank you, Mayor. We went over this in detail in the work meeting, so I'll just hit the basics and the important points. This is for 3200 West for the public's reference. This is 3200 West and West Hillfield Road right by Legacy Junior High. Some much needed improvements, road widening needs to happen there, so we need to acquire the property that's shown there in gray and black. That property there will allow us to widen the street and also put in curb gutter and sidewalk, which will be better for the families and the kids that are going back and forth to school each day. The property owner is actually the same property owner that's immediately to the east, which is there on the right of that photo. If you advance to the next slide, there's some property there that's shown that is owned by the city. The property that we need to acquire is just over an acre. This property here that the city owns is just under an acre. We've come to an agreement with the property owner that we would exchange those properties at a per square foot value. And then the city would purchase the remaining property, as there's still a little bit more that we need to acquire than what we have there. So we'll swap the properties if approved, and then we will purchase the rest of the properties, which at the appraised value will equal about $54,000. Then there's some impacts to the property, mainly a gated pipe that's used to irrigate the property that will need to be either replaced or relocated. So we've agreed to a provide some funds for that would be in the amount of $25,000. So total amount would be the $54,000 plus the $25,000 and then the property swap. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, any additional questions, council? Go ahead.
Yeah, the property that's currently owned by the city that we are conveying, is Mr. Layton using that already?
Yes.
As his own, as if it was his own property?
Yes.
And there was no compensation to the city at all?
No.
Okay.
He maintained the weeds. Okay, any other questions?
I don't have a question, Mayor, just a comment. One, this is near my area, and so we're just grateful that this project gets to move forward because of the sidewalk and the safety concerns for the families and the kids in that area. But also happy that we were able to come to this type of an agreement with the landowner and being able to have an amenable swap, et al., whatever the et al. Stands for, but just grateful that we can come to this type of an agreement to help with something that's much needed for our residents.
Very good. Okay, any other comments? Okay, if not, then council, that was our last item presented under our consent item, so I'll bring it back around for you to take action on all of the items presented. If you could, in your motion, would you mind stating the resolution and a briefing of what it pertains to? Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I move that we accept annexation request, MATA at 3 Farms annexation, acceptance of the petition resolution 26-10, the bid award with Merrill Sheriff Construction, Inc. for West Davis Corridor Landscape Projects, Projects 2501, Resolution 2607, the pressurized irrigation system transfer agreement between Layton City and Davis and Weber Counties Canal Company for the transfer of the pressurized system from Weber and Davis Counties County Canal Company to Layton City, Resolution 26-09. We approve the agreement amending the existing right-of-way and easement agreements between Layton City and Questar Gas Company doing business as Enbridge Gas Utah, Resolution 26-12, and approve the land sale and exchange agreement between Layton City and the Stanford J. Layton Family Trust, Resolution 26-13.
Very good. It's been moved and second that we accept the consent items. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that pretty much concludes our meeting this evening. So if there's any unfinished business or additional discussions we'd like to discuss, we certainly can do that. Or a motion to adjourn.
Really?
So yes. So if we'd like to go back into discussion, then in your motion to close this meeting, we can go back into a work session.
Okay, I'd like to close the session, but also go back into a work session.
Okay. Close this meeting. Is there a second? Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye. Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate everyone attending.